Right, welcome everyone to the RDB Reviews of Ryan. We are talking Project Power today. Ryan has a new illustration featuring a whole bunch of stuff. And the first one that we're going to talk about is a movie from Netflix, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, which I've seen about 10 seconds of this, Ryan. Again, stupidly. I passed it in being watched. So I have a tiny idea of what it's about. The genre is an action and adventure drama, mystery and suspense, science fiction, fantasy and superhero. So Ryan lists all of that for representing the genre for this. Stars Jamie Foxx, Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Dominique Fishback. The plot, a former soldier teams up with a cop to find the source behind a dangerous pill that provides temporary superpowers, which Ryan was interested in a week ago, he says, when he wrote this review on the 14th of August. The film was a mess. Ryan says the pros, the three main leads are very good in this film. I did appreciate the film taking its time to tell the story. The action was pretty good, and this concept, hard interactive game or TV show. So you like the concept of this. I like the concept, but it was flat fan roller in the middle of a very generic, bare-bones storyline, and the writing needed to be a little bit better. Yeah, I was a bit put off by the dialogue when I happened to see it. I thought it seemed a bit silly. If I was in the right mindset, I'd give it a go, because it's probably it's a comedy.
Well,
or does it take itself seriously?
Well, it does take itself a bit too seriously. Definitely with the plot line of they got this massive pill to give people powers, but for a short amount of time.
Yeah. So the bit that I've seen is the drug is being dispensed around like drug users, but then they start having powers, and that's a problem.
Yeah, the bit when I say the concept would have worked a bit for an interactive game or TV show.
Yeah.
I meant like, if you think about it, given the pill to have powers for a short amount of time, that idea should be an interactive TV show.
Yeah, I like the idea of that. Do you mean like a reality TV show? Because if it was a game...
Yeah, pretty much.
Interesting.
You could just get away here in like an interactive format.
Choosing your player, choosing what power the drug gives you.
Yeah, choose what power you want.
It sounds like a code for GTA. Like it would be a secret Grand Theft Auto.
And like a little like meter thingy to like show you this is the short amount of time you can allow to use this power for.
Yeah, because the poster says, what would you risk for 5 minutes of power? So is it generally 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Is it sometimes lasts longer?
Yeah, like in the style Black Mirror. I was thinking of more lines of like that.
All right, is there an episode of Black Mirror that you're thinking of that relates to this?
Oh no, it's just the overall...
A program like Black Mirror.
The overall concept of it.
Yeah, I'm with you. Okay, so it had potential for a lot more than just... Is it a film then? It's a feature-length movie?
Yeah, it's a featurette, yes.
Okay.
Stars Joseph Gordon-Levitt, which is the cop, and Jamie Foxx is like an ex-soldier.
He's the main guy mentioned in the plot, so he's helping the police stop the drug or track down where it's come from. It reminds me a bit of District 9, which is that movie about the aliens in South Africa, where you've got like a superhero or special effects-y thing, but it's also grounded in kind of a more reality-based thing.
Realism.
This is a film about police, drug dealers, and a street drug, but the street drug, rather than being something that just makes you a bit crazy, gives you superpowers. That's an interesting idea.
Oh yeah, true. But and then it just becomes just another traditional action movie. Someone's little sister got abducted, and they had to like put their differences aside to find her and bring her home. Which I'm like, okay, we got that about 1,000 other better movies.
Fair enough.
So yeah, I thought this was a total mess of a film.
I had the feeling of an episode to a Netflix program. Maybe, Ryan, it's another example of Netflix cobbling things together and putting it out there quicker than it should.
Pretty much.
You still recommend it on Netflix to have a good time with it?
I feel like some people probably find it enjoying.
I like Jamie Foxx. I've watched
Oh god, yeah. And the only last thing I could see him from was in The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Right, good for him.
Then, other than that, not that much.
Yeah, he's a treat whenever you get him. He's very good in Collateral. It almost reminds me of this with the colours, the way it's filmed, the contrast is accentuated, and it makes it feel quite comic book-like. That was the quick impression I got.
So we will praise it for presenting it like a style of comic book.
Yeah, very pulpy, very comic book-like. You'll have fun with it, but it does become a generic action movie towards the end.
Definitely. Overall, I thought this was a complete dud.
Okay.
And a waste of an opportunity.
Yeah, the concept could have gone other places. Maybe something like The Boys, but then you've got The Boys on Amazon Prime, so you don't necessarily need it everywhere. But treating superpowers in a more realistic setting, I like that.
Yeah. So, and let's go a little bit downwards to Showbiz Kids, which is a documentary of child stars in the entertainment industry.
Posted on the 10th of August, Ryan has done this post, not giving much away with the poster there, the graphic. Ryan says it's a documentary. Oh, I suppose, sorry, it's featuring these faces underneath that poster. So are they the child stars? Directed, written, told by Alex Winter, starring Henry Thomas, Mara Wilson, Todd Bridges, Mila Jovovich, Evan Rachel Wood, Cameron Boyce, Jada Pinkett Smith, Will Wheaton, Diana, Sarah Carey, Demi Singleton, and Mark Slater. The plot to Showbiz Kids offers an unvarnished look at the high-risk, high-reward business of working as a child actor in the entertainment industry. The film chronicles the personal and professional price of fame and failure on a child. Those who know the industry best, including several successful child actors and 2 aspiring hopefuls, unpack their own complicated experiences as they reconcile the hardships they've faced and sacrifices they've made on their way to finding success in show business. Ryan says he was looking forward to this documentary after it was announced. The documentary was brilliant. I'll just say we've talked about this before with the guy from Phantom Menace. We mentioned Haley Joel Osment. We've talked about child actors and how they get a very raw deal. So I'm already interested in this. Ryan says, in the pros, Ryan says the documentary's shown how sometimes show business can get demanding and ruthless in young kids. I was amazed they got former and current child actors to take part in this documentary. They tell us the struggles and challenges of working in Hollywood and growing up in the media spotlight, and they show not everyone can be a success in show business at times. Shows you meet to make your own choices, what you want to do. On the cons of this documentary, Ryan says, of the former child actors are missing from this documentary, and some of the struggles that these child stars go through make me sick. So that's not necessarily a con, because that's what the program is trying to make you feel is sick.
I know, but the way I feel about it is like, just see somebody like, so like, or sorry, excuse me, I see them just over the years like fated insecurity, which I mean never seen in life again.
Yeah.
That's what the stupid people think. Just make me absolutely sick. Which I like, come on. There is a perfect place for these young kids, old kids growing up.
Right, so you would like the industry to treat them better?
And the big when I said former child, obviously some for more former child stars actually had their word in the documentary.
Yeah, because when I read that, I was thinking that's their choice. They might not want to be exposed to more media scrutiny. They just want to be left alone, maybe.
Oh yeah, like example, I can think of people like Drew Barrymore.
Yeah.
They managed to get Corby Hayes' face on there for a couple of seconds.
Okay.
And God, there's so many I go top of my head.
I probably recognise the faces, but not the names. You're so knowledgeable of all this.
Yeah, but the only names I can think of in this documentary, which took place in the documentary, are the little girl played Matilda, James McIntyre, Or has he Mr. Smith? Jason Smith.
Jada Pinkett Smith. I wasn't aware that she was a child actor. I'm aware of her from her adult role.
I didn't until this documentary showed up.
Yeah.
And also, shockingly, Todd Bridges.
Who's he?
You know, from Different Strokes.
Okay. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, like I have seen anything from him from ages. Except for a few like appearances of like the Hollywood Story or...
So I'm thinking of Leonardo DiCaprio now. Actors who started out young but have become mainstream actors, grown-up actors in their own right. It's very hard for them to make that transition sometimes, you know. People don't give them the credit for being adult actors. They just think of them as, oh, you're an ex-child actor.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes when I hear like these stories of like, say like the cast of Different Strokes, for example, you just feel sorry for them. You wish that things will turn out right for them.
It always feels like there's no one there to look out for them. Like, where are the parents? Who are these grown-ups that are... Because Drew Barrymore, she got heavily into drug abuse when she was very young. And the guy from T2, the Terminator movie, Edward Furlong, he had a terrible time in drug dealers and all these nefarious characters.
To be honest, the only time I know heard of Furlong was the Terminator movies. And other than that, that's it.
There's a film called American History X, which is quite good. He's a neo-Nazi skinhead. But yeah, I can't think of many films that feature him after that, really.
They show like a few pictures of what about the welfare of today's stars. Like they show like Jaden Smith and little sister, Willow Smith, and show a picture of that shaking, you know, that music video, shaking it.
Maybe if you played it me.
Oh no, but no, I'm not playing it here. I don't have that video behind me.
Okay.
They did show pictures of like certain stars' behaviours, checking the bad behaviours, like Miley Cyrus, for example.
Yeah, interesting.
And Debbie DeFardo and Selena Gomez.
Okay.
Which I'm like, well, all three of them have probably gone greater success after they were like now grown adults now.
Yeah, Disney kids are another they're like a subgenre of this kind of thing. Where Justin Timberlake and Christina Aguilera, all these characters started out at Disney like youth camp singing. And so they've been performers. I mean, the ultimate one, Ryan, is Michael Jackson. And obviously he won't be in the documentary. But
he did.
This is about child actors in Hollywood, so not just child performers. Child performers is another subgenre. You know, where Michael Jackson was made to perform from the age of like 5. And basically it ruined his mental well-being, you know.
Well, yeah, but also, I do like in the middle of the Disney Channel songs with Demi, Selena and Miley, that was in my generation.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so you grew up with them and they were all smiling.
You see them like, I mean, most of their shows are on Disney Plus right now.
You mentioned Hannah Montana, yeah.
Yeah. And I think they did have Justin Timberlake on there for like once.
Okay.
Yeah, probably they just throw him a lot of money to show up in a documentary for one interview. And like, there you go, here's your money, now go away.
It's interesting. We were talking about the dark side of wrestling and your WWE versus the SmackDown versus Raw and how they get these people to do the documentary, but they're obviously being paid. So as much as it's great they got them, there's a paycheck involved. But it's obviously down to them if they want to talk. So, yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah. And also, they did mention the Sprouse twins.
Who are they?
Sag and Cody Sprouts.
Is that their real name?
Yeah,
if you know
that's their real names, yep.
what program or films might I have seen?
Well, as of right now, well, this little show you probably won't remember, but probably from a long time ago, called Sweet Life with Zack and Cody,
Heard of it, I think, but I can't remember watching it.
or Sweet Life on Deck.
Right.
Well, they didn't have them on there, but they did mention them, like Ashley Tyndale, Cody and Dale Sprouse. With
Mhm.
Dale Sprouse, Dale is like, I was like talking to Dale. Dale Sprouse is now like off to college and have a normal life. And his younger brother, Cody, is like on a several television show, Riverdale.
All right. Yes. Yeah. I've heard of that. Yeah.
Yep, and also Brenda Song. She was on a recent Netflix film, which didn't go too well for her. Guest starred in a couple of sitcoms, and also Ashley Tisdale. I think she's now like a producer. So those few names that I just mentioned, including Monty, Selena, Demi, those in my eyes, like they're the most successful ones out of those bunch. But for the others, I can feel sympathy for them.
That's the thing. When you say success, I thought that was the word you were going to use. You know, it's very judgmental to suggest that you're a success or a failure based on your career, because most people don't start their career until their 20s. But these kids have been in the spotlight some of them since they were like 4 years old.
Yeah.
And it's very cruel to blame them for anything that's happened to them because they've not had any control. So.
Oh yeah. But also, some of those ones are probably like the ones that probably got their act together and probably are doing all right for themselves, like Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah, is he okay now?
Oh yeah.
Really sorry about him.
I think he like shows up like in a few like indie movies and probably like a few guest appearances on YouTube.
Yeah.
And probably and he's like dated Mina Kunis one time.
Okay.
And then divorced. Goodbye.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know his story too well, but there was a lot of worry about him. And you don't see these people, then you see them looking a bit blary-eyed in some tabloid magazine. And everyone just thinks, oh, it's such a shame, you know. But
Yeah.
you don't know anything about their life.
Yeah. And also they mention like some certain child styles and substance abuse problems. Like Britney Spears' meltdown to Amanda Bynes' troubles with the law. And they mention Lindsay Lohan as well.
Yeah.
So it's great to like mention them in the same program.
You will have seen the South Park episode about Britney Spears' meltdown. Have you seen that one?
Oh yeah, I've seen that one.
It's such a clever concept.
Can I just say, that was the actual episode that made me go way into South Park. As in like, well, this is great. Let me see this.
It ticked a box for you. I thought it was so clever because it is like we do need to build up these celebrities, then knock them down, you know, it's almost like a sacrifice.
Which I like that episode.
Yeah.
It's showing stop living their lives. They're people like us.
No, they're not allowed to be. No.
Well, except you have like bells and cameras shoved into your face.
Yeah.
Which I think they should piss off, really. Hey, we are just having a normal day shopping.
Spare a thought for the paparazzi. They've got to make their money.
Yeah, but shame on them.
Shame on them, definitely. Get a better job.
They cost Diana's death.
Yeah.
And you got Britney Spears to also to be insane.
Yeah. Mind you, Ryan, there's not much opportunity to pat celebrities now because they're all hiding in their mansions. So,
Oh yeah, definitely with COVID going on. I
yeah, it's
think,
changed everything.
yeah, which actually much better, other than dying and slow death.
It's true.
So yeah,
Showbiz Kids, sorry.
yeah, and also they do like show like footage from like you said, from like E.T.,
Mm-hmm.
Hannah Montana. I think they did have the classic Hannah Montana song in the background,
Right.
but they just like showed footage of the classic opening of Hannah Montana briefly, and it showed like it in action, and you watching some of this, look at that, what they were back then to compare to now.
Yeah.
It's like how far you've grown so old. Like, example, if I look at pictures of myself, well, look at me compared to what I am now.
Yeah.
It's like, what's happened to me? And you just dawn on you and like, oh yeah, I just got old now.
Is it mostly, Ryan, about bad stories, or is it an even balance between successful stories and horror stories?
Oh, definitely a balance between the two, yeah.
Yeah, because I wouldn't have thought that Miley Cyrus was in as bad a way as Edward Furlong or your man from Phantom Menace.
No, but I think they did said like near to the end. I think today now with our culture is changing. I think the industry is now back to Me Too.
Mm-hmm.
Now they start to really like carefully like managing these younger kids for a younger generation like properly.
Yeah, if I may, it reminds me of the scandal around the Jeremy Kyle show last year. Basically weren't looked after very well by the production team of the show. They weren't given counseling or they weren't given a sense of how to get back into normality after you've been on TV and a celebrity. So the world is a lot more sensitive to the needs of people now, I think, or it should be.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's like almost similar to that, but I see where you're coming from.
Yeah, that's not child actors, but that's just
No,
ordinary people who are suddenly in the
no,
limelight, and they're
but
not.
I'm glad that you did mention that. So yeah, I still had that story wrapped in my head.
It stayed with you. That's good.
Overall, I thought this was a brilliantly fascinating documentary.
Rates it 10 out of 10, and he has listed a huge cast and production in his review, which, as ever, we'll post in the description of this video.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I meant to mention, I was shocked they had like mini Jovovich because I didn't realise she was a child star.
I can see her as like a child model or something. I'm not sure if she was in films or TV.
Yeah, and that Karen Boyd. I think that's the last thing he done before he passed away. They got baby Peggy on here.
Who's
I
that?
think as in baby PEGGY.
Baby Peggy.
Yeah.
It's like Shirley Temple, Ryan. Shirley Temple was a child star icon. And we had the Julie Garland movie last year. So there's a long history of people going into cinema young and the industry or people just not looking after them, not allowing them to be people.
So yeah, I think this is highly recommended documentary. In order you to find this, which is definitely on the Sky Go box,
The Sky Q.
you can try and find this either HBO or on this new Sky Documentaries channel.
Right.
Yeah, which they just launched just recently, which is all dedicated to documentaries.
Great. Okay. So can you look for things on that, or do you just have to wait for it to be broadcast at a certain time?
Well, I think if it does well, I think they can re-show it on like any time of the day
Yeah,
or night, or you could pretty much find it or catch up or on demand,
that's how it works.
so you can find it for yourself.
Okay, cool. So Showbiz Kids, definitely worth a watch. If you're interested, Ryan recommends it as a good watch.
Yeah,
Excellent.
right. Now get to the main event of this review, which
Yeah,
is the reviews of seasons 1 and 2 of the Marvel's The Punisher. I think season 1 and 2 of Punisher, I think this split into two separate reviews, but I decided to just mix the two together.
he's looking at you. So if I take information from this one, which is Ryan's review for season 1, 2017, Netflix Punisher series, and then we can move on to the other one if you want to.
Sure thing.
The genre is an action fiction, conspiracy fiction, crime fiction. It's a comic book, basically. It's based on a comic book with a character called Frank Castle. So I'm a fan of the Punisher from the Spider-Man cartoon. This is a live-action version of it, set in New York City. It is starring a whole bunch of people. I'll let people look at that on your review. The plot. After disposing of the last of the gang members that killed his family, Frank Castle, played by John Bernthal, also known as the Punisher, lives under an assumed identity and works as part of a demolition crew. However, a mysterious man who calls himself Micro, Eben Moss Backrack, lures him out of hiding with video of Castle and his unit torturing an Afghan investigator named Ahmed Zubair in Kandahar. Castle and Micro form a shaky alliance to take down Agent Orange, Castle's superior officer in Afghanistan and the mastermind of the shady operation Cerberus. Initially unknown to Castle, Micro sent the same video to Homeland Security agent Dina Madani, Zubair's former partner. The video spurs Madani to pursue Castle on her own, with the reluctant aid of her new partner Sam Stein. Her pursuit leads her to Billy Russo, Castle's war buddy and former best friend. That is a long plot for this series, but this is the whole series. This is series 1. Waiting to watch this since I left the Marvel program so I can watch other things on Netflix. The first season was good. In the prose, John Bernthal is Frank Castle. Billy Russo was a worthy adversary for Frank. The location choice for New York City brings more of a realism to the show. I enjoyed the flashbacks of both Frank and Billy's days in Army. This first season had a lot of violence and bloody scenes. I like Micro's journey throughout this season, and I also like how they dictate mental wellness in the show. In the cons, at times the series goes too far with the blood and violence. Through the season I had trouble concentrating on what's happening in the show sometimes. It's one of those things that works as a comic book. They've tried it as a movie 2 or 3 times, I think.
Yeah.
Does it work? Is it good?
Well, at some parts in the first season, yes. The character of Frank Castle, which is John Bernthal, is fantastic as Frank Castle.
So that's our man there. Yeah, he looks very good for the role. He just needs a good square jaw and never smiles.
Yeah, because Frank Castle in the comics is
Yeah, he's a nice guy.
like a loose cannon,
Mm-hmm.
but he does it for a purpose.
Well, unlike a lot of the other superheroes, he is a trained killer. He murders a lot of people, and he kills lots of people in The Punisher. So, whereas Batman might try and arrest people, Punisher is he'll just kill you.
So I think this is like...
Right, okay.
In the last episode, gets the hand. TV show.
Mm-hmm.
A would-be antagonist
Yeah. It's interesting. He's meant to be a Vietnam War veteran because the comic was written in the 80s, 90s. So now it's Afghanistan. They've updated it. And does it tell the story? Does season 1 tell the origin story of the Punisher about how his family? Yeah. Okay. That's not a plot spoiler because that's the basis of the character. Yeah. Yeah, it's if you've ever heard of the Death Wish franchise with Charles Bronson, this is basically Death Wish, but the comic book. You know, it's man he's not going to take it anymore. He's going to go around punishing people or killing them. What? Well, gold t-shirt. Yeah. Okay. That's good because a character name sometimes doesn't actually get mentioned in the actual program. It's just the title, you know, but yeah.
They deliver a lot with the violence and blown off.
I'm laughing because it's probably quite zombie movie-like. I imagine it's very explicit and silly.
Not really. And
Not silly.
About Wentro, I like him. He's also like a former Vietnam War veteran.
Yeah.
Who have a tragic life.
Okay.
Which is actually like, it's a bit like the computer nerd of the team.
Yeah, so Micro builds his weapons. This is the character. Yeah. It's a bit like Lucius Fox in Batman. Sorry.
I was going to say Felicity from Arrow.
Okay. I've not seen that.
It doesn't but it's not hot or fancy good looks.
No, the Punisher is more about men being men. Yeah.
It had to keep a secret from his family from running from the cops.
Yeah.
Trying to basically fake his death.
Micro is dead.
Yeah, Micro.
Yeah.
And he buried his real name to a fake name, but until easy way to say, by the end of the series, he does show himself to his actual family.
Yeah.
And he'd say, well, I got to do this job, keep on what I'm doing to protect my family.
Okay, that would be involved in the story of the series. I don't know that Micro ever had a family in the comic book. He's just kind of like, it's like Blade as well. He's like Whistler for Blade. He's the guy who's there at the base making all the weapons. And he patches Frank Castle up if he gets injured, that kind of thing.
And I did like those two together.
Yeah, that's good.
And by season 2, Wentro is nowhere to be found.
Okay, so do you want to just talk about season 2, Ryan? Ryan has written a review for season 1 and season 2. They're both on his reviews blog. But Ryan's just going to summarize the whole program for us now.
Okay then. Well, this is like coming off the Defenders. And oh yeah, one more thing for season 1,
Yeah.
they had like Karen Page from the Daredevil's TV show to just show up as cameos.
So it's a crossover, is it?
Yeah, like it's a spin-off of the Daredevil. And also, they're off in season 2, of the Defenders, Frank is now still running around stabbing chapters his way,
Yeah.
but him is more like something else entirely, like he's in put the charge of this girl that's been running away by the Russian mob.
Yeah.
So Frank is there to protect her.
Okay, that's the crux of season 2. He's looking after this girl and fighting the Russian mafia.
And other than that, that's a backdrop. In the middle of this second season,
Yeah.
they got 2 plots going on. The Billy Russo one, which you probably have seen season 1 to remember this one,
Okay.
is Billy Russo end up like in the hospital, like his face is all covered up and everything. And the other plot is they had to deal with this Russian hitman.
Right. So it's like a nemesis. It's a cat and mouse thing, is it?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Because, yeah, historically it was the Italian mafia that Frank is fighting, because in the comics they kill his family. It's like a drive-by shooting gone wrong. It's accidental killing, collateral damage. But Frank starts a one-man war on the Italian mob. So you're saying season 2 is the Russians, and obviously they don't like that, so they're now trying to get Frank as well.
Yes, exactly. Or just they got their son, their own Russian son,
Yeah.
involved with trying to get himself into politics.
Okay. Interesting.
And he's using the Russians as a cover-up to distract the press
Yeah.
into basically getting himself in office.
I wonder if that's at all political, because this would have been 2017-18 after the Russians meddling in US elections.
This was last year, by the way.
All right, okay, so 2019 was season 2. Your review says season 1 was 2017. All of this is after the Donald Trump election of 2016, though. So if you're having the Russians and politics, you must be nodding your head to the fact that Putin is trying to undermine democracy in the Western world. Maybe that features, maybe it doesn't.
Well, yeah, but also they had like Billy Russo storyline, which I feel like in this season 2, I feel like he's more, if you get like the road that he was going in season 2, you feel sympathy for him.
Okay.
More than Frank Castle this season. But that was the actual idea of the season, which Frank Castle not like an all-round perfect guy.
Yeah.
He's like a tortured, well actually, both of them are tortured souls.
Yeah.
Really. They were treated bad by their governments.
It sounds like the program is giving a lot of empathy to Frank, but also to the bad guy. And so it's very grey. It's not black and white, good guy, bad guy. Because Frank kills...
Yeah. And I thought some of the moments with that little girl, I was just going to call her a little girl, and then Frank, I thought were very, very cheering.
All right, cool. So that's quite endearing as well. Good. Yeah. It sounds like a well-rounded concept. It's not just very silly. It's not pulpy.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the female police cop, after she was like manipulated by Billy last season for basically having Betty boys or having sex with her. Sexual pressures.
Right.
But she's like Commissioner Gordon. for female Commissioner Gordon. Like a tough and rough. Like FBI agent.
Alright, so she can handle Frank. Okay.
I don't think it's the best one from season 1, but a less brutal than last season was. And
Yeah.
I recommend the first season as well as this season as well.
And you can catch them on Netflix.
Yeah, all of them, both of them on Netflix.
Okay, fantastic. So that's a good watch from Netflix. If you're looking for something to redeem yourself from Project Power, Punisher Season 1, followed by Punisher Season 2. Ryan recommends.
But I sadly we haven't got time to talk about Star Wars The Clone Wars Season 3, but we can leave you for Thursday.
Ryan, thank you so much for new
Thank
content.
you so much.
And, we'll speak to you again soon. Take care, mate.
Bye.
Bye.